Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Bo Nix higher than I would have guessed. Drake May, JSN, Mahomes, Caleb Williams, Micah, Christian McCaffrey, most of them predictable. The NFL has clearly evolved over the last 10 years, not a single Dallas Cowboy. In fact, in the top 50, there's one. CeeDee Lamb, 21st. No Cowboys in the top 20. Brock Purdy, 7th rounder, little quarterback, sometimes gets hurt. Higher than any Cowboy. C.J. Stroud from the little brother of the Houston Texans. Higher than any Cowboy. Dak Prescott's not in the top 50. And you can say, well, I mean, everybody's got his jersey. Brady was in the top 20 to the very end of his career in New England and Tampa. I mean, T.J. Watt's been in the league a decade. He was top 50. Dak wasn't there. There's a guy on the list that's not even in the league anymore or currently. Tyreek Hill made the list. Dak didn't, top 50.
Yeah, this is something I really want to get into. I don't even know which angle to take, honestly, because there are so many different ways to approach it. But when you actually sit down and look at the numbers, because people are always saying, oh, the Dallas Cowboys are the most popular franchise in the NFL. They're the face of the league. And the truth is, it really depends on how you measure it. There's no question they're hugely popular. That's not even up for debate. But the reality right now is that when you compare these high-profile teams, they're all within a percentage point or two of each other, whether we're talking about the Chiefs, the Eagles, or the Cowboys. It's not this enormous gap that some people imagine. And whenever someone brings up the Cowboys having the biggest fan base in football, the way that's usually calculated is just by adding up social media followers. I've looked into this before. It's largely just tallying up all the followers across different platforms. And you can clearly see the influence of Philadelphia. Saquon is up there, Jalen is up there, and I mean, they've been on those lists for years. Saquon, I think, really jumped after they won the Super Bowl. And remember, this is based on the calendar year, so it runs from, say, March to March. That means it covers the entire Super Bowl run, not just the spike after they actually won the game, when jersey sales and everything else naturally skyrocket. It's the whole process. So for a season, when the Eagles were 3-7, that popularity metric still includes the entire stretch where they were struggling. It's not just riding the high of a championship. That's not how the timing usually works. That's why it continues to be so impressive. And that's why I have to laugh. I keep thinking, how do I want to turn this into a video? Because I could make one about Jaden Daniels. I could make one about Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, the Eagles in general, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or the Cowboys. I'm like, man, which direction do I take? I'll probably end up doing multiple videos on this topic because I genuinely find it an interesting conversation. But for me, the obvious starting point, the low-hanging fruit, is this: I still get so much pushback for making so many Eagles videos. And it's like, can't you see why? Can't you understand the reason? Here's what I hate. I'll say something like, look how popular Josh Allen is or Drake May, and people twist that into obnoxious, over-the-top takes. Meanwhile, we have Saquon, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Micah Parsons. And it's like, no, this is actually a fascinating list. I think last year's ranking had Saquon at number 1, Mahomes at 2, and then Jalen Hurts at 3. But the fact that Mahomes is now number 6, and Drake May has skyrocketed to number 2, that just shows you how quickly people can move on. How fast you can be forgotten. That's simply how it works. That's how it works in life in general, let alone the NFL or sports as a whole. And that's why I feel really grateful. Part of that actually comes from Colin Cowherd, who really emphasized this way of thinking years ago. He was criticizing baseball for being constantly stuck in the past, refusing to change rules or statistics, being so beholden to the home run record and all that. He said you have to stay current. You have to keep updating. That's what football does. He went on this whole rant years ago, before I was even making videos. He talked about conversations with his wife, where she told him you always have to stay relevant. You can't become the old guy. That really resonated with me because that's exactly how my dad is. My dad is that old guy. And I love it. I love him. He's a historian. He knows so much about every sport and its history. The things he knows, I genuinely don't understand how he remembers it all. He missed his calling, he should have been on sports radio, no doubt. In many ways, every video I make, I try to carry that with me. But he lives in the past. And I feel very fortunate because naturally, I'm very nostalgic. I live in my childhood memories and other things, and I get haunted by mistakes I've made. I'm definitely that meme of lying in bed thinking about something dumb I did when I was 14, like, why did you do that, man? Why did you say that? So I do get haunted. But with sports, I'm really not. That's why I created the mountain and the tears the way I did, I'm just focused on right now. I got so tired of the whole rich tapestry thing, constantly having to weigh 2018, 2019, 2020 against the present. I got sick of it. I want to live in what we're seeing right now. I want to celebrate Bryce Young playing out of his mind for 1 week and say that was one of the best performances of the week. I want to live in that moment and marinate in it. We see it in real time. And I think it's important to keep that perspective. Because sometimes I'll be watching a game with my dad, I watch a lot of sports with him, and I'll say, oh, wow, that player is great. And my dad goes, yeah, but did you know in 1974? And I'm like, bro, it's 2026 right now. I'm just trying to watch what's happening right here. But then I think, you'll miss these stories when he's gone. So you have to enjoy it. You have to take it in. And sometimes he gives me great things to think about, and I go, oh, I'm going to use that in a video. He drops knowledge on me. Honestly, him telling me those stories my entire life is a big reason why I'm so passionate about sports in the first place. Plus, having him as my coach, doing late-night workouts in the pitch black and all that, I owe him pretty much everything, if we're being honest. But it's one of those things I wish he could understand, appreciate the greatness of what you're seeing right now. Appreciate it in real time. That's one of my biggest issues with constant comparisons. We always want to downplay the greatness of a Josh Allen or a Jalen Hurts because we feel they threaten Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or whoever. And again, you can't have one without the other. I never want to pretend like I'm trying to make everyone best friends with their arms around each other, Cowboys fans with Eagles fans, Eagles with Giants, Mahomes fans with Josh Allen fans. That's not how it works, and it would almost be bad, because you need the competition, the energy, the hype, the fights in the comment section. As long as it stays fun, you need all that intensity. It does make it fun. But it can also take away at times, because you're downplaying greatness. And I think the league has been absolutely incredible these last few years. When you look at this collection right now, Josh Allen, we know who he is. Drake May coming out of nowhere. Saquon Barkley with the Eagles, he was doing nothing in New York, then Philly rescued him. We owe a lot to Philly for showing what Saquon can truly be, giving us the greatest running back season of all time, capping it with a Super Bowl, and epic plays like massive touchdown runs in the snow against the Rams and the Commanders. Epic moments. Jackson Smith-Njigba, nobody knew who he was or how to say his name. Super Bowl winner in Seattle. Let's go. Jaden Daniels literally resurrected the Washington Commanders. Patrick Mahomes undeniably brought in a sea of fans. And I'm probably part of that, because I was at a different stage of my life. What got me back into football was really Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. It became must-watch TV. I still remember watching the 13-second game and realizing in real time that this had to be one of the craziest games in NFL history. I was watching with my dad, standing shoulder to shoulder, just staring at the TV like, I don't know what we're witnessing. Then fast forward to Josh Allen's game against the Rams when he had a 6-touchdown game. I wasn't watching with my dad, so I brought him in and said, you have to watch this. I don't think you understand, we are witnessing one of the greatest quarterback performances of all time. So it's crazy to see. Say what you will about Jalen Hurts, the way he's won, the way the Eagles have won, he's cemented in NFL history forever because he'll always be a reference point. Even in the conversation about Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts literally outdueled him at the highest level. That will not be forgotten. Watching Caleb Williams against the Rams, that throw. I remember live streaming it and all of us just asking, what did we just witness? One of the most entertaining games I've ever watched was Jordan Love and the Packers against the Cowboys in the wild card round. I was on an exercise bike, watching on my phone, not in the best place in my life, just trying to pedal away from my problems. And I watched that game and couldn't believe it. This was peak Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl, Dak Prescott is the MVP energy. That's what Nick was banging the drum about. And then from the very first snap, I had the biggest smile on my face because it was insane. Watching every single Cowboys player get rocked in real time, watching the fan base, it felt like witnessing a global event, and it was just a wild card game. Greg Olson on commentary said, "They're down by 1 million right now. They didn't understand what they were seeing. So we are so incredibly lucky. I love that there's variety and movement here, because one day the Saquon-Jalen duo won't be there. There will be a new batch, a new wave, new teams. And it's so important." People always ask, are the Cowboys still America's team? What does that even mean anymore? What even is that conversation? You know who's insanely popular? The Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Lions. In 2024, technically, the Lions were the most watched team in the NFL. The Chiefs and Eagles had the most viewed Sunday football game ever, and the most viewed Super Bowl ever. The Eagles vs 49ers wild card game was one of the highest-rated playoff games of the entire postseason, more than some deeper rounds. So this stuff is always fluctuating, always changing. That's why I called this out before. Cowboys fans get mad at me when I ask, why do we keep talking about a Micah Parsons trade? People say, you're so dumb, don't you understand ratings and views? The Cowboys are the most popular team. And I don't think people actually realize that this is a dated way of looking at it. Not to mention, the media tells you what's worth talking about. They are still the kingmakers of relevancy. We could be talking about other things. Think about how this segment could easily be about the Eagles, they have 2 players in the top 10. It could be about Josh Allen as the most popular quarterback right now, or Drake May. We could have so many other conversations. We could say, look, Jackson Smith-Njigba is number 4 and Sam Darnold isn't there. But instead, it's let's talk about the Cowboys. Instead, the background is Cowboys highlights. Show me Dak Prescott in the background. It's Cowboys highlights. The star could easily be Josh Allen in Buffalo or Jalen Hurts in Philly, but it's not. It's let's filter this through the Cowboys and ask if they're really that popular. These conversations to me are more meta. I always talk about zooming in and zooming out. These are the ultimate zoom out on how we consume football, how we define popularity, what conversations are worth having. I find it really fascinating. I've talked about this a lot. I get certain pushback on certain videos. If I make 100 Josh Allen videos, people don't push back much. If I make a bunch of Eagles videos, people push back. I even made videos breaking down why that happens. I made an insane number of Jaden Daniels Commanders videos in 2024, and no one questioned it. Then that momentum got hit because they lost and had injuries. But if they had won the Super Bowl, I'd still be making tons of Commanders videos. It happened with the Patriots too. Suddenly, on First Things First, Wilds is talking more than ever. That's all because of Drake May coming to New England and winning. So these movements have big effects. I do wonder where this will all continue to go. It's interesting that almost everyone on the list is a quarterback, except Jackson Smith-Njigba and Micah Parsons. And this is what I said about Seattle, their fan base is different and unique in that regard. Seahawks fans misinterpreted what I said and got mad. I was just talking about levels of popularity. Also Saquon, but he's attached to Jalen Hurts. It's really interesting to look at a team's popularity and what the quarterback brings. This also reinforces what I've said before, you see individual fan bases. Josh Allen fans are different from Bills fans. Patrick Mahomes fans are different from Chiefs fans. In my experience, the loudest and most prominent quarterback-centric fan bases are Mahomes, Lamar, and actually Baker Mayfield. Josh Allen has it, Caleb has it, Jalen has it, but to different levels. If Patrick Mahomes leaves the Chiefs, their popularity takes a massive hit. If Jalen Hurts leaves the Eagles, it will take a hit, no doubt, but they'll still keep on going, still one of the most watched teams. At one point, Romo was royalty, then he left, and it was Dak commercials. Same with Buffalo. So what a quarterback and his popularity can bring is really interesting. That's why Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels have the potential to capture that, doing legwork for a franchise like Josh Allen or Mahomes, but also being connected to massive markets. Washington is huge, Chicago is huge, Philly is huge. If Mahomes or Allen played for the Eagles, with more universal love and winning Super Bowls, it would be game over. That's what the NFL desperately wants with Caleb and Jaden in Chicago and Washington. That synergy is what they tried to do with Dak and the Cowboys, but they can't bring it home. When you think about our most popular quarterbacks, they were in New England, which isn't Philly or Chicago. It's a different football market. Peyton Manning with the Colts, Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. Packers are iconic, but there are simply different levels. Look no further than the level of conversation. Drake May was balling in 2025, and yet we still had way more conversations about Caleb Williams failing in 2024. The Seahawks won a Super Bowl, and we still talk about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles way more. It's not even close. We've been talking about the Chiefs and Mahomes a lot less. People become less interested because they don't have the same staying power. And as you see, Mahomes falling to 6, still considered the best quarterback, yet there's this movement. You even see the power of the Jordan Love and Micah Parsons brand with the Packers. It's all fascinating to me. You don't see Matthew Stafford with the Rams, or Puka Nacua, or A.J. Brown, or Derrick Henry, or Lamar. It's interesting. But I'm just a nerd. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours. What do you all think? Do you find this level of discussion interesting? Does your mind work in a way that looks at this and tries to draw conclusions, or is it completely meaningless to you, just merchandise rankings that mean nothing? Let me know. I read every comment, whether you agree or disagree. Let's get into discussions, get into fights, but ultimately, let's just have fun. Please consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd love to see you be part of it. I want to build something we all feel connected to, something we're excited to be part of. We're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.